everybody. It's Tony George along with Sean Salisbury. Seems like every week on these free pick videos, Sean, we're either talking about Michigan State or Michigan. You know, it might be repetitive and redundant, but I did want to mention to everybody, since Sean has joined forces with Doc Sports as our media partner, Mr. Salisbury and myself, which we've agreed on most games. And the one game we didn't agree on, I beat him. I'm not going to let him forget that. But our picks are 11-4 against the spread, Sean. So doing a great job with the sides and totals here in your first week and a half with Docs.
It's a good start, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling through the tournament and beyond to other sports as well. But I can tell you this, Tony, that you go ahead and brag about that. You shouldn't let me forget about it, because my team got boat raced in the one you took, and I owe you a steak, cocktails. Hell, do I got to get a limo and the rest of it? Because you were when somebody takes you to the woodshed that bad, then you got to pay. And we had a little side bet, so there it's going. I'll take it though. We've hit some pretty good games on this. It's a really good start. It's awesome to be there. And you know how you and I both love college hoops, so it makes it fun too for a little side stuff. I'm having a blast, man. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I'll take you up on the cocktail for sure. I know a little speakeasy where her name is Jasmine, so you go ahead and help me out with that.
I'm in.
Hey, Michigan State taking on Michigan here. Both these teams off a loss, including Michigan, the game that Sean and I were alluding to, Iowa-Michigan game here. Isaiah Livers right now is 50-50 to play tonight. That's 14 points a game for Michigan. So I wanted everybody to know that I'm aware that we both are aware of this injury here. And I don't know if they want to risk getting him hurt this late in the season if he's nursing an injury against a team they clearly should beat. Michigan is laying 12 points. The total in this game is 140. But you have to ask yourself a question. And I know Michigan State's off a loss in Indiana, Sean, but this is a time of year that Tom Izzo continues to, they are having an NIT tournament this year. For those of you living under a rock, the NIT is not going to be the same as it's been in years past. With the 32-team field and the Final Four coming to New York, in 1975, they changed the rules of the NIT tournament. They used to invite all 16 teams in New York, as you know, Sean. And now they're going back to that. They're inviting 16 teams, not inviting 32 this year. And they're inviting 16 teams to be in the NIT. And they'd love to have a school like Michigan State and Tom Izzo in there. So they are playing for something here. My power ratings have this at minus 17, Sean. But I think you can kind of throw that out the window here. This is a big number for Michigan to lay. You really need to ask yourself a question. What is Michigan's objective here? And I think it's to get out of here with a win and get out of here healthy. And Michigan they don't have to prove themselves to anybody. They're the third-ranked team in the country, despite the loss on Iowa. They're a top 5 team. They're possibly a Final Four team. Overall in the NCAA tournament here. If you take a look at the numbers, Sean, the last 5-game numbers, we talk about this most recent teams get into cycles. And despite Michigan State losing Indiana, Sean, they've been playing a better brand of basketball here towards the end of the season.
No question. Yes, they have.
With a long layoff. Last 5 games, if you looked at the last 5-game stats and then looked at this spread, you would scratch your head. Both teams allowing 68 points per game on defense, and Michigan State scoring 69 points a game and Michigan only 73. So you look at those numbers, you go, why the hell is that team laying 12? Where they are, Michigan here, but they haven't played yet this year. So big game for Tom Izzo, big pride game here. I'm just leaning early on here in the discussion. I'm kind of leaning towards the points here.
I am too, and I'm going to tell you another thing here to keep an eye on, and I think why the number's so big, Tony. Michigan State is not good on the road this year. What are they?
Yep.
I guess about 2-7. And Michigan just got Michigan had a chance to clinch the Big 12. The Big 10, excuse me. Michigan had a chance to clinch the Big 10. They took Illinois, beat them by 23. And Illinois now, boy, I haven't thought about Illinois. I mean, obviously this year, but in the last couple of years, I'm back in the day when Kendall Gill and that group, we've talked, and there's been a couple, like, it seems like every decade, it's like, oh, the Illini are back, and they're real. The Illini is real now. This is a good basketball team, but they took Michigan to the woodshed now. They beat their brains in. And so there's a little bit of motivation. Juwan Howard doesn't want to, number one, lose to a rival. And after you just got beat, because this team doesn't want to roll in, because are we sure? Let's just say Michigan State beats them. Are they a 1 seed, Tony? Is Michigan a 1 seed if Michigan State beats them? Bubble 1 seed, correct?
Yeah.
Is automatic or a no? Automatic 1 seed?
Automatic 1 seed if they win out here. If Michigan State beats them here, they're going to a 2 seed.
That's my point. Michigan, if they win, no doubt. But if they get beat by Michigan State after giving up a 23-point loss at home to Illinois, we're talking possible bubble team in a 1 seed, right? And whether you like the 1 or the 2, the bottom line is there's an ego involved too, right? There is. Recruit, everything that comes into it. So I would expect, but that's still, I always get concerned, those double digit against the Tom Izzo team. And Izzo's team always does this. Plays better when it gets to this time, getting into the tournament. They're physical. They start to knock you around a little. I'm really concerned about one of those. They're up 15. They get fouled a couple times, hit a 3, and the number's 9, right, Tony? And you mentioned getting out safe. If you're, the number for me is what I'm looking at as well. I just think Michigan's going to beat them up pretty good. Just get a little nervous on big numbers like that. Even Michigan should by damn near 20, and they very well may. But the motivation here, why the number is so big, regardless of the statistics and points you were talking about, the game per average game points, I just think that Michigan's going to play about as motivated as possible at home as we get ready for the Big Ten tournament. I look for a big win for Michigan, but I'm leaning on the same side as you.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take officially Michigan State for my side here. This has got classic backdoor cover written all over it. And one thing about a Tom, and it's not like Juwan Howard's a bad basketball coach, but Tom Izzo's a better basketball coach right now. He's earned that right, without question. And his teams do not throw in the towel. They do not give up. They play good defense. They'll slow this game down. I'm thinking maybe under 140 might be a lean here too. You just worry about Michigan. They're 15-5 against the spread this year. They're a good cover team. And one thing about that Illinois game you alluded to, I know a lot of really professional sharp bettors out here in Las Vegas I run around with and talk to. And there is a lot of guys, and this wasn't just the other night. This was a couple weeks ago. They said Illinois is the Final Four team. They said, keep your eye on Illinois. They're good, and they're a bad matchup for Michigan because of their length. They're just so physical and big. And and that is not the case with Michigan State here. But if I'm Juwan Howard, I want to get out of here. I want to rest my stars as much as possible. I think maybe if you wanted to lay it with Michigan, the only way you could do that, maybe the first half line, they get out on them here. They're a little pissed off after getting embarrassed on national TV, this, that, and the other. Maybe lay 6 or 7, or I think 7.5 in the first half of them. But this thing's got a classic backdoor cover written all over it, and Tom Izzo will not go away quietly in the night. I can tell you that right now, Sean.
I was asked a question about 2 years ago, and I know we got Krzyzewski and Bill Self, and we got a lot of great coaches in college basketball. We do. Roy Williams. The list goes on and on. But for my money, if I got a game, and I know talent-wise, but you give me all the same talent with all the coaches. I've been saying it forever. I'll take Tom Izzo as quickly as I'll take any coach in college basketball, especially because he combines I will. I just – and when it's a rivalry game, Michigan's obviously clearly more talented, Tony. But Izzo may be worth a couple baskets just because he's that good a coach. But I'm with you. It is – to me, this seems in a rivalry game – and I know Michigan's going to be pissed. Michigan State's playing better. I just don't. That's a huge number. I'm with you all the way on this. I would go Michigan State on a backdoor cover on the back one, and I'm leaning towards the under as well. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, a lot of 83% are on the under here at one sportsbook spy I see, and 70% at this particular outlet I look at. 70% are on Sparty as well. So we're kind of siding there with the early leans there His name is Sean Salisbury. We're going to be up Friday with 3 look-aheads for conference tournament weekend and some final games this weekend on what's going to be a very tricky weekend, folks. Don't forget about the free $60 and link in the description below. I don't need to hype up anything that I'm doing. You can go to the website and see that over 73 games, I've hit 67%. And we're rolling into March. We're peaking at the right time. But there's 11 other handicappers over there and a ton of free information and other videos as well. And, of course, being our 50th year in the business gives us a little credibility, along with someone of Sean Salisbury's stature as well. Gives us a little credibility. So be sure to get over to Docs and check out all the offerings that we have there. And for Sean Salisbury, I'm Tony George. Thanks for tuning in.